Amani channel with webvideochefs.com, and I want to thank you so much for even clicking on this video, clicking on the link, because this is really exciting stuff that I'm going to share. This is Mobile Journalism Must-Haves. This is a replay of a presentation that was given at the National Association of Black Journalists 2013 conference in Orlando, Florida. Presented, my co-presenters were Alyssa Richardson, a professor at Bowie State, and Chip Dizard, who is a Final Cut Pro X and Adobe certified trainer, teacher, and a technologist. So I'm really excited because we're going to get into, this is actually going to be a three-part series. This is the first part. We just really wanted to get it out there quickly. The following segments will be produced in online shortly. But this one, we're just going to provide the overview of the video production, some of the main high-level information that will really help you get started. All right. So even before I get into information about me and that sort of thing, I want to share this quick video with you. I created this, called Mobile Journalists Making News. And you may be surprised. Sorry for my voice being hoarse as well. I'm just recovering. But anyways, you may think that a lot of this technology is new. Well, a lot of it actually isn't. And there have been folks like Steve Garfield, who you'll meet in just a moment, he actually broke news ahead of CNN by using his Nokia phone, which you're seeing him hold there. So I'm going to show this video just to get your mind racing, just to sort of prepare you for some of this information that I'm about to share with you.
My name's Steve Garfield, and I'm broadcasting video from this cell phone live.
Fire investigators are going through this house in the 4700 block of 40th. Once you have an iPhone, even an earlier model, you have all that you need to be a radio reporter.
This device is quickly becoming a tool that is changing the way people work.
Hi, I'm Rich Murphy, Senior Web Producer at MyFox DC here in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually send us live pictures from your smartphone that we can use on television.
There's this website called Quick. So here's Quick, Q-I-K. Can you see it? Yep. So when I press that, it brings it onto a camera. It's connecting to the network. And the camera's ready, so when I hit this button, stream, we're going to be streaming live to the internet.
You have the ability to go out and get the information. You have the ability to go out and get the audio. You have the ability to get pictures. You have the ability to get video.
Once you have the Ustream Broadcaster app loaded, you open it up. You'll have to create an account if you don't already have one. If you already have one, when you click live, it usually will, you can tell it to save your password. Once it does that, you'll see your camera. Essentially, all you need to do is click the Go Live button, and right now you're broadcasting to your Ustream page.
We felt it would be appropriate to do this report live tonight through the iPhone because this device, along with other cell phones, are quickly changing the way people do things. Like us reporters, we are so used to using these big trucks to do live shots. And for some local software developers, the iPhone is becoming a digital goldmine.
So I'm walking down the street, and they're like, that's Duncan Hunter. And I'm like, what's happening? He's rushing over to CNN because he was excluded from the ABC and Fox debate. So I'm like, can I broadcast you live? And they're like, oh, well, you have to talk to the coordinator and everything. I was like, no, not with any huge cameras or anything, with this, right now. And she's like, oh, okay, go ahead and talk to him. I just walked up with this, and I says, hey, can you tell me, what are you going to announce?
So what did you just announce to the world? Yeah. Oh, we just told them that the CNN or Fox and ABC blanked us out of the last two debates, as you know. And they've been asking me when I'm going to get out of the race and when I'm going to quit, and my answer is I'm not.
No way.
Okay.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you. Duncan Hunter just announced to the world that he is not going to quit, and now he's on his way to CNN. But who got him first? Steve Garfield, reporting live from New Hampshire.
Really, really cool stuff. Hopefully your mind's already racing. All right, so what you're going to learn, first of all, how mobile devices are changing news gathering. I think you saw some good examples there. We'll talk about the apps, equipment. We'll have some demonstrations. And we had some prizes to give out. Unfortunately, we don't have any prizes for this, but maybe the next one. You got to catch us live for the next one because we'll certainly have some more in the future. All right, so first of all, about the presenters, I'm sure you're like, who is this guy who's been talking to me? So Professor Alyssa Richardson, she's an award-winning journalist. She's a mobile journalism trainer and professor. Chip Dizard, you can see their Twitter handles as well. He's a technologist, a Final Cut Pro, and Adobe certified teacher and trainer. And then Amani Channel, and you can always tweet me at Amani Channel, no space there, just at Amani Channel. I'm an award-winning video producer. I'm a former reporter, a PR pro, and a professor. And I love teaching, so that's why I'm really excited about this one, because it's really cutting-edge kind of information here. All right, so you might have seen this headline. If you missed it, hopefully this will get your attention. The Chicago Sun-Times axes all staff photographers, offers reporters iPhoneography training. So this is the state of the industry. This is the state of the news business, where small mobile devices are replacing professional photographers. Now, I won't say that I think this is a great idea, but this is where things are going. This is why this information is so important, because if you have a smartphone, it can now, in some cases like this one, it's replacing the big DSLR cameras. And though we're talking a lot about video in this training, I mean, that's just taking it to the next level, right? Because a lot of these smartphones, they shoot a high quality HD, and it rivals some of the low end HD cameras, and it can be suitable. So I'm going to share in a second an example of the video that you can produce exclusively with your smartphone. All right, so I have a question for you. Why would you even want to use a smartphone for news gathering? Well, you can see the answer. This is my answer. It's because you can. And so, though there are apps, there's the technology, you can do video, you can do photos. Part of this process that you'll have to undertake is learning how the technology can benefit you, because this shouldn't be an add-on to what you're already doing. This shouldn't be an extra job task. This needs to be included in your overall workflow so that it will make your job easier. Because if it doesn't make your job easier, you shouldn't be doing it. Already, the journalists have to do more than ever these days when it comes to their news gathering responsibilities. So using a smartphone should not be in addition to, it should be a supplement to make your life easier. And with that, I have an iPhone reporting case study. This is actually something that I did personally on July 20th, 2013. Of course, hopefully you will never forget the Trayvon Martin story, George Zimmerman's story, the young 17-year-old who got shot and killed walking home with a bag of Skittles and iced tea. And of course, it caused huge controversy. The suspect was acquitted. And about a week after the acquittal, there were rallies all around the country in like 20 cities. So I live in Atlanta. And what I wanted to do, I don't work for a news station now, but I knew this was a big public event. There'd be a lot of cameras, that folks would probably be more inclined and wouldn't be hesitant to speak to me because I'm not with any sort of affiliate or any sort of network. And so I brought my iPhone, and I was determined to turn a package only using my iPhone 4S. And that's what I did. I shot the interviews, I voiced, and I edited it using the iMovie application. And I will say that the conditions were not ideal. It was raining, and that in itself can be a challenge for any sort of field video production. So I'm going to now share with you the final product. So this is the story. Like I said, it runs about 1:30. This was exclusively produced by my iPhone and me.
What do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now!
The brief downpour didn't deter thousands who rallied in downtown Atlanta to show support for Trayvon Martin and his family, everyone with a reason for showing solidarity for the slain 17-year-old.
I came out for everybody that's worked for us before this and for everybody that's worked now for us.
For me, as a parent of 3 children, I certainly could sympathize with the Martin family.
I do have a brother, and he's a little bit older than Trayvon Martin, so, that's why it's so important that we're out here today rallying together.
The peaceful demonstration happened in the shadows of the Martin Luther King Jr. Federal Building. The people here said this situation shows that the struggle for justice is far from over.
It is important to understand that we are still subject to being scrutinized, unjustly scrutinized.
Fulton County Commission Chair John Eves hopes this brings attention on other community issues.
It was a great show of unity, and I think that a message should be heard by a larger community in terms of racial profiling, some of the injustices within the criminal justice system.
They say it means not only rallying and praying, but working together to create the change they are seeking. Amani Channel reporting.
So that was it. So once again, I used my smartphone exclusively. I recorded the interviews in the field. I was just a one-man band in it. I was holding the microphone and holding the camera, the cell phone, the smartphone, my iPhone, and I had a professional mic plugged into it, an Electro Voice 635A, which we'll get into some of the accessories that you'll need in this course. All right, but before we move on, just want to talk about new media in the news, because like I said, this isn't especially new. I mean, we're talking like 5-10 years. You know, it's about 5 years old. We'll see some examples now. So in 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting, featuring the iReport. So you all remember, hopefully you remember the situation where there was the shooting of Virginia Tech, the horrible massacre. The only person to capture any sort of audio or visuals was a student who had a Nokia cell phone. And the video was shaky. It wasn't the best quality, but the point is he captured the moment. There weren't any news photographers there. There were no video news cameramen there. He was the only person to capture that video, and that really put iReport on the map. And then in 2008, as you just saw in that video, Steve Garfield scoops CNN, that interview with Duncan Hunter. Then he used that application in that website, quick.com. And so also this was like a news kind of big news moment for mobile and for new media. Then in 2009, the Hudson River plane crash. And if you remember that story, there was a picture that was released first, and that photograph came from someone using Twitter in their smartphone to share the picture. It was a twit pic. And so once again, you know, the smartphone, the mobile device trumps traditional news gathering. And then in 2009, there was a KOB reporter. His name is Jeremy Hohola. He was also in that video that was featured at the beginning where he did an iPhone live shot. There was a Miami reporter who also goes iPhone. When one of the iPhone models were released, he shot a story exclusively with his phone. And in 2011, another example that I showed in that video where the station in DC uses Ustream for live reports. And what they did was, it was like during a snowstorm and people weren't going anywhere. So they asked the community to set up cameras, set up live stream accounts in a live stream video, and notify the station when their streams were up. And they used that community kind of collaborative gathering to enhance their newscast. So they were showing pictures from citizen journalists, from community reporters, as they were also reporting on all the goings on about the snowstorm. So, you know, it's innovative, cool stuff going on. So before you go mobile, all right, I know you're like, how do I do this? But you have to know the technical needs. You need to know what kind of equipment you're going to need. You need to know your limitations of your equipment, what it can and can't do. And with that, you have to know the application. So, you know, different apps will be good for certain things. Quick is good for live streaming, for archiving videos with your smartphone, but not be the best for high quality HD video. But to get something out there with your smartphone very quickly, Quick works well. iMovie is great for basic editing, but if you need something more advanced, you may want to consider some other apps out there. And then you have to understand multimedia storytelling. So how is your station or outlet going to use the story? How is this how is the technology going to be used, or how are the assets that you gather with your smartphone going to be used in the overall story that you're creating? And then you have to have a workflow. So know how you're going to quickly and efficiently get from point A to point Z, I'll say, or point B, however you want to look at it. All right, so you have to have a way to do that. And then you have to practice. So, you know, you have to, before you're under deadline, before you're up against the gun or up against the clock, you have to make sure this stuff works for you. So make sure you practice. Always practice, because practice makes perfect. The last thing you want to be is under deadline, and then you're not able, or something isn't working out the way you need, and then you crash and burn. Not a good look. All right, so here's some of the apps for the iPhone and iPad. So Filmic Pro, if you want to shoot any sort of video, this is a must-have application. It costs about $5. It is a camera enhancement application, I'll say. So it allows your video camera, does a few things. It allows you to white balance, to zoom. You can focus and lock the focus. You can lock in the iris so it doesn't auto-adjust with the exposure. You can change the frame rates of the video that you're capturing. So it's very robust. It's very great software. It also allows you to monitor your audio feed live as you're recording your video. So you can plug in a headphone as you're recording. There's special cables that allow you to plug in both a headphone and microphone. And as you're recording your interview, you can also monitor the audio, which is important. Now, if we move into editing, there are a few software programs out there. There's Vadio, which is a professional grade, and also I'll add to that list Pinnacle. So these are two allow you to do multi-track, have some robust transitions. software. Vadio also has its whole back-end system where you can file reports and contract and reach out to freelancers and pretty cool stuff. All right, then if you want some basic editing, there's iMovie, which is what I use. iMovie isn't necessarily made to do multi-track, like I both tracked voiceover and put video over it. I kind of had to figure out how to make that work because it doesn't natively, like you can't record your audio track first and by itself. You have to have some video first on the timeline. So I had to sort of finagle my editing a little bit, but it works. All right, then Quick, if you want to live stream, you can use Quick, you can use Ustream. And then YouTube has an application called Capture, which allows you to upload clips, do some basic trimming if you just want to do some basic video sharing. Now, if you're on the Android, all those apps that I just mentioned, they were for the iPhone, which is, if you really are serious about this stuff, you have to go with iPhone right now. You have to go with the iPhone right now. Android isn't really there in terms of the apps. It's a little bit video challenged. You can do some basic editing with apps like Android Pro and Video Maker. You can do some live stream with Bambuser, but really Apple is the way to go right now in terms of the mobile. But you can always, whether you're capturing video on your iPhone or your Android device, you can always import the video clips into a laptop, into a MacBook Pro, or into an editing system and edit that way. So if at least you could be capturing your video or your assets with your smartphone, and then you could do your post using a traditional nonlinear editing system. So there are all sorts of workarounds if you are looking to use your Android device. All right, so you have to gear up. So like I said, if you're holding a phone right now looking at it, how the heck do you get it connected to a tripod? Well, there are a couple of tripod adapters out there. There's one called the Glyph, and we're going to have some accompanying notes that will have links to all of these products. There's also a universal adapter that I use, and I bought that from Amazon. It works with both an Android or an iPhone, and I really like it. It has a little ball head on it, so you can kind of rotate it around, and it works really well. But then you also need of course, an audio and mic adapter. So if you can plug in regular headphones, but the iPhone headphones, if you ever looked at them, they have 3 rings on them, and it's actually a 4-pin connector. So it's not like a regular stereo jack. If you plug in a regular microphone into your headphone jack, you're not going to get any audio. So what you need is an audio or mic adapter. There's one made by a company called Vericorder, and there's one made by a company called KV Connection. And this is what you need to get that audio into your phone or into your device, and it works with Android as well. And then there are tripod stability mounts. So there's one called the Focus, which is great for the iPhone. It allows you to collect a lens, like a wide-angle lens or a macro lens. There's also a device called the Padcaster and the Makayama, which are for the iPad and allow you to shoot video with your iPad. So they allow you to mount a tripod to your iPad. You can add little accessories via a shoe. And those are basically what you'd want to get just to enhance your video if you like some additional stability with your videography. And then if you want a microphone, you can use, some people use a regular professional mic. I use exclusively generally professional mics with my iPhone, just using the Vericorder or KV Connection cable. They're also a Vericorder makes a mini microphone. Rode makes a microphone called a Smart Lav. There's also the IXY. There's something called the iRig. There are a number of microphones on the market right now. You just need to do your research, figure out what you need and what works best, and maybe buy a couple of them and test them out. And then you need lights, of course, if you're going to be doing any sort of serious production, because you need lights when you're shooting video. All right, so in summary, smartphones should be used in one way or another for news gathering, but you have to think outside the box and really learn how you can leverage the technology. And you have to experiment, figure out what works well for you, how you can use this device to enhance what you're doing and make your job easier. And then my final tips: capture video always in airplane mode. And I'm going to add an asterisk to this, another one. If you're ever shooting video with your smartphone, always hold your phone horizontally and not vertically. That really should have been in my notes. I've done some tutorials or some videos on it, which I'll also share. But make sure you're always holding your phone horizontally. And then capture video can be edited with nonlinear editing software, like I mentioned, but the content can trump the quality if you have some exclusive video, if you have something really amazing or something that's very newsworthy, but you're the only person to capture it. So even though it might be a little bit shaky or not be shot the best with a smartphone or a mobile device, if it's great content, that will trump quality. And then if you're really serious, or if you really want to start doing this on a day-to-day level, you may want to talk to management, all right? There's some other examples of individuals who are also doing this. You should Google or search out Neil Augenstein. He's a reporter at WTOP in Washington, D.C. He's been using his iPhone exclusively for several years to produce all of his radio reports, so go check him out. And in closing, I will just leave you with a little bit of information about both myself and the people who co-presented, including Alyssa Richardson. She has a free ebook and course. There's a link right there. Please check that out. And if this information was helpful, wherever you're seeing this, please comment, share, or subscribe to Web Video Chefs, because we like to share this kind of information. We really feel like this is revolutionary stuff. We're in a state of flux right now, and really to stay on the cutting edge, you have to take your skills to the next level. So stay tuned. We're going to have part 2 and part 3 coming soon. I'm on channel, webvideochefs.com. Thank you so much.